A blessed and warm welcome to the news desk on Hope Channel Zambia, television that changes lives. You are catching us live on Top Star channel number 450 and on the Movie TV decoder on channel number 25 and our live stream on both YouTube and Facebook, our handle being Hope Channel Zambia. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. Millers have agreed to reduce the price of millimilk in the country. Police intercept a ploy to traffic an albino from Mongu to Lusaka. Mrs. compound in Lusaka still remains without any public school. And in other news, Public Transport Association irritated by unstable fuel prices. Details follow after this.
My wife, bumper harvest. Eh?
Daddy,
I'm telling you.
your new fertilizer. Niamini.
Eh?
Daddy,
Tell you.
Hello. My instructions.
I went to ETG, and now we are enjoying the benefits of using a blended D-compound fertilizer as basil and Kynoplus as top dressing fertilizer instead of urea that we used last year. Now look here. This year, it has given me 4 tons. 4 tons. But last year, it was only 1.8 tons. Kynoplus has given all my crops the nitrogen that I paid for. Wow. It has saved me money. Telling you.
Understanding the difference between soil and crop-specific fertilizers, therein lies strength for Kynoplus blended fertilizers. More value in a bag. Available in the ETG depots countrywide, with a network providing agronomy services to farmers across the country. Kynoplus. Enhanced efficiency through innovation. A product of ETG.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Bright Sinkos with the details. My sign language interpreter is Sharon Akufuna. Residents in Mrs. compound in Lusaka have bemoaned the high cost of living, especially millimilk price, which is, as of today, fetching at 220 kwacha. Residents have called on government to reduce the price for the staple food. But the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, has agreed with millers to reduce the price of millimilk following the release of 250,000 metric tons of maize countrywide. Addressing the media after the agency held a meeting with millers in Lusaka, FRA board chairperson Kelvin Hambwezia says since FRA is selling maize to millers at 4,000 kwacha per metric ton, the retail price of millimilk will be at 160 kwacha per 25 kilogram bag of breakfast millimilk in Lusaka, while on the copper belt the price is expected to be limited to 170 kwacha. Mr. Hambwezia says the agency has so far offered 152,330 metric tons of maize, and of this number, about 75,000 tons have so far been paid for. The agency board chairperson has since urged retailers to stick to the agreed price. We have details in the following report.
Residents in Mrs. compound have said the high cost of living in the country has affected the ability of many to live dignified lives. The residents have called on the government to consider lowering the prices for millimilk.
Azaganiza njira kunyumba siyanjara afuni kutaniza maparents mwazi baba kulubanga so imonga ifeche danda ole akoshe unga kwe bagwira kunga kweve batibwezere moche mwazi baba kulu sindife bonse betsebenza mu government sindife bonse betinasiriza maskuru mwazi baba kulu bati so ifefe danda ole akoshe bationerepo atiyanganirepo mwazi nabakawala abapaka chifukwa cha ndrama so asebenza abantu
kambako kwa ine chabe awe ungaweve zona wamene wapitira mu vanzanga wachitaova aona nine kukamba pano voice kuti ichoke nikangiwa nfuna kugwa njala kafuka ku 12 hours norukapo chili chose so ya ivana mbwenu vakanthe vana tunjito ni ye kulira vana soro kwacha njala chitaova unga wadula.
On the other hand, Food Reserve Agency Chairperson Kelvin Hawazia has assured the nation that the agency has directed millers to be selling a 25 kilogram at 160 kwacha, while Copper Belt will be selling at 170 kwacha.
Millers in Lusaka, they will sell at 160 kwacha a kilogram of minimum. We have agreed. We have made progress. 160 kwacha. Agreed. We have agreed with the millers. X factory, isn't it? X factory, 160 kwacha. That's how committed these millers are. I know some people, they demonize millers. They say no, they're after making profit. Today I proved it. They're not here to make profit. They are here to help stabilize prices of minimum. We have agreed in one meeting. 160 kwacha, X factory, done, deal.
Patriotic Zambians are ready to ensure that we do our part to ensure that the price of minimum is affordable, and therefore in agreement with the board and management and government at large to retail the product at 170 kwacha X factory in Copperbelt.
Mebo Chitimbiti reporting for Hope News in Lusaka.
Government has disbursed 2.5 million kwacha to the Ministry of Agriculture in Southern Province to liquidate personal emoluments owed to retirees and deceased former employees of the ministry. Acting Southern Province Agricultural Coordinator Paul Nyambe said the personal emoluments paid to the retirees and the deceased include terminal leave benefits and repatriation. Mr. Nyambe told the National Agricultural Information Services, NAIS, at Lusumpoko House in Choma district of Southern Province that the other personal emoluments paid to the former employees is long service bonus. He expressed happiness for government's commitment to liquidate the personal emoluments dating as far back as 1998. And Acting Senior Executive Officer Nicholas Manda said the mode of payment was through personal bank accounts for the beneficiaries as well as checks. Mr. Manda further stated that payments were done through personal bank accounts for those who submitted bank account details, while those who did not were paid through checks. Meanwhile, Provincial Accountant Leonard Mudenda categorized the payments as terminal benefits at 967,000 kwacha and long-term service bonus at 931,000 kwacha. Mr. Mudenda named other payments done as repatriation costing 204,000 kwacha and taxes that amounted from the values terminal assessments that were done at 415,000 kwacha. We have more in this report by NAIS.
Residents in Mrs. Compound have said the high cost of living in the country has affected their business.
Disbursed 2.5 million kwacha to the Ministry of Agriculture in Southern Province to liquidate personal emoluments to the retirees and deceased former employees. Acting Southern Province Agriculture Coordinator Paul Nyambe said the personal emoluments paid to the retirees and the deceased include terminal leave benefits, long service bonus, and repatriation.
We are thankful to the government that already towards the end of 2022, 2,517,855 kwacha 79 ngwe was disbursed to the province to take care of all those retirees from the period 1998 up to somewhere around 2015. So that's quite a long range. It's those retirees and indeed the deceased whose terminal leave benefits have been met from this amount. Also those who had the long service bonus outstanding.
And Acting Senior Executive Officer Nicholas Manda said the mode of payments was through personal bank accounts for the beneficiaries and checks.
In terms of the mode of payments, we looked at people who had all the details required for these payments. For those that submitted their account details, money was sent direct to their accounts. And then those that were the challenges to acquire their account details, we had to use the check process.
And Provincial Accountant Leonard Mudenda categorized the payments as terminal benefits at 967,000 kwacha, long service bonus at 931,000 kwacha, repatriation at 204,000 kwacha, and taxes that amounted from various terminal assessments that were done at 415,000 kwacha.
Under terminal bills, the office managed to pay to a tune of 967,000. Then under long service bonus, the office managed to pay 931,000. And also on repatriation, the office managed to pay 204,000 kwacha.
Reporting, Lawrence Kabuto in Choma.
Now, over 50,000 members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church last Sabbath, 4th February 2023, filled up the National Heroes Stadium in Lusaka for a combined worship service of all churches in Lusaka-based conferences to meet the General Conference President, Ted Wilson, who was in the country for a pastoral visit. The Sabbath gathering was to crown the pastoral visit of Dr. Wilson, who visited strategic places in both northern and southern Zambia Union conferences. The church leader is currently in Kenya for a similar purpose, and later he is expected in South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Eswatini, among other countries. Republican President Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and his wife Mutinda, the First Lady of Zambia, were also in attendance alongside other government officials. We have details in the following report.
Preaching to us, there are those that are more able than myself, but simply to say, what a great day for us to meet in this way, in these huge numbers, to worship God. Without God, nothing is possible. Without God, we may work hard, but we may not achieve much. So God leads the way in everything we do. And I'm convinced myself that's the way, that's the road to success in whatever we do is through Jesus Christ, our Lord. And I will not take too much of your time because we are all eager to listen to the message. But only to say that the government, Zambian government, will work with the church, with the Board of Christ in the various spaces, various areas, education. Thank you for this church, to this church, for supporting our population in the area of education, in the area of health, other community duties. Other churches too are doing similar works. All of these are appreciated. This your government is not in competition with the church, but we work as partners for the betterment of God's children, in this case, the people of Zambia, and of course, Africa and the world as a whole. I would say what I love to say, that unity in diversity in this our Christian nation, anchored on love, anchored on trust and hard work, is the way we shall achieve. And I want to thank our church and other churches for evangelizing our country and the world all over. May God lead our leaders of the church in their noble duties, taking us where we should be, where we ought to go, where we belong. Tunyina munzimu tatu yandiwa munyiga besiatu komanishe mbotulanga munzi umbe mbotulanga munzi umbe moyo wangu
That was the Republican president addressing the masses who gathered at the National Heroes Stadium for a Sabbath worship, where the General Conference President, Dr. Ted Wilson, with his wife Nancy, were gracing the members of the church in Zambia. Now, police in Mongu, Western Province, have thwarted a ploy and arrested 12 suspects who attempted to sell a 17-year-old male pupil of Sefula Combined School for the Blind who lives with albinism. Police recovered some medicine which were labeled as diazepam, which after interrogations it was heard from the suspects that the medicine was intended to be given to the victim once he was captured. Police also recovered 12 cellular phones which were used for communication by the suspects. In a statement issued by Deputy Police Public Relations Officer Danny Mwale said investigations revealed that a plot to traffic a named albino who is a learner at Sefula Combined School for the Blind in Mongu district of Western Province started in October 2022, and a picture of the victim was sent to the purported buyers in Lusaka. Police intercepted the operation and arrested the 12 suspects, who include 4 teachers, including a school matron aged 53, a nurse aged 33, a taxi driver, and 2 men who work in a barber shop in Sefula of Mongu district. The suspects were all picked on February 4th, 2023 between 01 hours and 04 hours in Sefula of Mongu district. Investigations have heightened and all the suspects are detained in police custody. Now, government has started repairing washed away bridges and culverts in Chief Mumbi's area in Eastern Province after a heavy downpour of rains that destroyed infrastructure, including houses, leaving most families stranded. Residents are happy with the quick response by government to repair washed away bridges and culverts. Most road users of Chief Mumbi were last week unable to access basic needs on the other side after the rains. The floods rather cut them off from the entire place. We have more in this.
Residents of Chief Mumbi area are happy that government has quickly responded to repair the washed away Vumvui culverts to ease the movement of people and goods.
Okay, apa tia mikira boma obwera musanga pa bridge ikuti abwera konze bridge fukwa I road ni busy road tau yo ili onse cha betima pita mameno so sembe wa boma itakwati wachedwako sembe isi sembe sivinaende bwino so tia
boma kuna kuti mwaishi kuti yatikumbuka mangu kuti wanasukwa kwa manga kwa ngongo skulu ya konza kapela yukonza lomba tete so mwaishi tia boma pa
Petauke District Commissioner Martha Mulenga, who visited the site to ascertain the damage, says government is in a hurry to develop and make sure that road users are not cut off to access their basic needs.
It's impossible for any vehicle, even the people who are using the foot road, they can't pass, and we have children coming from the other side that are supposed to access Mungongo Primary School. The temporary work which won't even last too long. The culverts they put, they undermined the strength of the water. They should have used bigger culverts than these. This road is under World Bank and we still have a contractor on site. Our appeal as Petauke District is that the contractor should come back on site as much as we are seeing the machines back on site.
The commissioner further checked the Mwambezi River where culverts have been washed away after heavy rains. Here, the commissioner found a truck wagon belonging to the Petauke District Farmers Association stuck, blocking all road users.
The situation that is here is sympathetic because currently no vehicle can pass, and I appeal to contractors that are going to get contracts in the New Dawn government not to have to do the whole stretch in order for us to allow our people from Matonje to pass along this road.
Mavuta amene tikumana nawo hapa manzi ngati ya zula kulibe mwana aliyense amene apita kuyenda ku skulu ku Mwambezi almost 1 week ngati manzi yalipo nimechipana skulu sanga cross kuyenda ku Mwambezi.
Most World Bank funded roads have similar challenges of washed away culverts and bridges. China GA Oil, the constructor working on the same roads, is doing road maintenance for the next 5 years. Reporting for Zanis News, Ines Sakala, Petauke District, Eastern Province.
Well, thanks a lot, Ines, for that report. Just now, let's take a break. More stories on the other side. Don't go away.
Are you looking for a place that sells fresh, healthy vegetables and fish? Well, look no further because New Roberts Fish and Veg Limited has what you are looking for. We have a wide variety of healthy products to satisfy your taste buds and help you in your healthy journey. We have a fully stocked butchery, farm-produced vegetables, and live fish. Yes, you heard me correctly, for that guaranteed freshness. So what are you still waiting for? Call 0976 543 822 or 0955 108 708 or 0965 691 909 or visit Chilenje, which is behind Total gas station. Because at New Roberts Fish and Veg Limited, we believe only fresh foods are good enough for you.
This is Banda, a hardworking man, husband and a father. He doesn't seem to be patient and can't wait to knock off. Wait a minute. Oh yes, it looks like he's rushing home to watch his favorite show on TV. But then, he's running late. What does he do? Hold on, Banda. Did you know that you can still watch your favorite shows from anywhere, anytime? Yes! Just download the StarTimes own app from Google Play or Apple Store, then register. You can link your DTT or DTH decoder to up to 3 devices by entering your smart card number and the last 6 digits of your decoder serial number. Then voila! You're good to go. You can also pay for your subscription, change your preferred bouquet and other self-services on the app. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Topstar. Enjoy digital life.
My wife, bumper harvest. Eh?
Daddy,
I'm telling you.
your new fertilizer. Niamini.
Eh?
Iye daddy
Tell you.
Hello. My instructions. Maya kunkabuno bwino mwamene.
I went to ETG, and now we are enjoying the benefits of using a blended D-compound fertilizer as Basil and Kynoplus as top-dressing fertilizer instead of urea that we used last year. Now look here. This year, it has given me 4 tons. 4 tons! But last year, it was only 1.8 tons. Kynoplus has given all my crops the nitrogen that I paid for. Wow. It has saved me money. Telling you.
Understanding the difference between soil and crop-specific fertilizers, therein lies strength for Kynoplus blended fertilizers. More value in a bag. Available in the ETG depots countrywide, with a network providing agronomy services to farmers across the country. Kynoplus. Enhanced efficiency through innovation. A product of ETG.
Are you looking for a place that offers medical vitals checkup and counseling? Then look no further. Happy Family and Life Care Center has you covered. We offer lifestyle services that will help you prevent diseases such as high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and stroke, among others, with an added twist of aerobic exercises to help you keep healthy and happy. So what are you waiting for? Call us now on 0976 6461 74 for registration, or come through to our offices at Charleston Seventh-day Adventist Academy along Charleston Market Street. Hurry, while slots are available.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. And now for the rest of the news. A Zambian truck driver who died in South Africa after a stroke attack while on duty some few weeks ago has been put to rest at Lusaka's Chingwere Cemetery. Stanley Mutoya, 47, died at Whitport Hospital in Limpopo, South Africa, where he was receiving treatment following his sickness while in transit to that country carrying goods. The late Mr. Mutoya was an employee of Foshan Trading Limited and is survived by a wife and 3 children. More in this report.
It is a somber mood for the Mutoya family and friends as they gathered at Lusaka's Chingwere Cemetery to put to rest their beloved one, Stanley Mutoya. Mr. Mutoya, 47, a Zambian truck driver of Foshan Trading Limited, died in South Africa at Whitport Hospital in Limpopo on 26th January 2023 after suffering from stroke for some days. His friend, Master Chimbala, shared the life history of Mr. Mutoya.
Anabadwa mu 1976 mu July pa 25 July 1976 Bambo Mutoya anapezeka kuti anapeza kompata opita ku primary school panali pachunga ndiye bwino lijani mwamene mwatu mdera mwatu ndi tuchunga primary school, and from there nachita secondary school pa Thorn Park ndiye pamene na kwanisira secondary school education. Kuchoka hapo Bambo Mutoya anapezeka angera muza ntchito zosiyana mpaka pa nthawi yamene kunapezeka kuti matenda yatigwera pasiku la lero koma ndipo sonona kwa kanthawi anali na ba Foshan trading Foshan trading ndiko amene analili mavuto amene anatigwera chikulu nchakuti anakhala na stroke kapena stroke kuti anachita paralyze kapena inakhala na vuto ku bleeding kwa mmutu ndiye kuti stroke but sono ndiye mavuto anatigwera pamene anali ku Sidia ku South Africa huko ndiye mpaka mavuto pamene kuja 1 week bwanji tumadezi zavuta nditu ndiye uledo mpaka.
His children paid a tribute to their father.
My dad was the best dad ever. And he loved and cared for us. He provided and nurtures us as a family. Adakuti atate wa number 1 wapa mwamba nditu amene anali kutikonda na kutisunga. Nikumbukira pamene nenze ku skulu zinakhala zovuta koma simunalekerere munapitiriza. We waited and prayed for you to come back home but to no avail. Tinakhala wembekezera kuti atate mzabwerera mubwere ku nyumba. We only received the bad news that you are no more, and this burden is so heavy to carry, but we accept the will of God. Ichi chintu tinakhala opemphera kuti mungafike mungabwere koma zinavuta tikuti ichi chintu chakhala cholema koma tingokhala ovumera na Mulungu chifuniro chake kuti chikhale chochitika.
Uncle to the deceased thanked mourners for the support they rendered to the family.
Ukusha kusamkulira na fo pamo. Chichi minto echikani muri mwenka te muchikonshe pona ngawa muri chenjere shana ngawa timbe na imabo ni shana. Pano kusa kwenu nebo naleta kutoto kukuluka bili kwimagani nako na irupo alwa mtoera onse. Ande basho tungaliko sebesha ko bati. Ukuya kwa mutoya tali ati pano kwa abo kulekana pakatika kwa upile wa mwisho wa mtoya na fuevo na mtoya.
Mr. Mutoya is survived by 3 children and a wife. Esnat Sikazwe Hope News, Lusaka.
Now, while government is offering free education from grade 1 to 12, children in Lusaka's Mrs. compound have to either trek to schools in Kawata or Obote Madras to access education, as their area is still without public schools after 58 years of Zambia's independence. Residents in the area have raised concerns over the community not having any public schools, resulting to a number of children finding it difficult to attend school due to distance. In an interview with Hope News, some residents say the nearest public schools are in Kamwala, which is a hassle to get a place as locals fill up spaces first. According to residents in the compound, the lack of schools in the area has forced many out of school, which is resulting into some unpleasing acts or activities, such as the rise in the presence and number of junkies. By broadcast time, the Minister of Education, Mr. Douglas Siagarima, was unreachable by phone as his phone was switched off.
Residents of Lusaka's Misisi compound complain of not having a public school in their area. Residents say their compound only has private schools which are expensive and community schools which can only occupy very few pupils. The residents had this to say.
So abana bangone tikangi wakubayambisa kulota asiganza malodi bana wabunkiwa. So mwana mwamisi sifuna kocha base school na ipoti bana batu basachumpa ko malodi.
For sure we have a problem that this compound has no school. It has no government school. The only schools that are actually helping the people of Mrs. Compound are actually the community schools. And you know, in most cases, for lack of a better term, I can actually say that the community schools operate below par, because most of the teachers that teach in community schools are not qualified because they are not trained to teach. They just help the society. So actually, it's actually my plea to the government that actually some time back the government used to say that Mrs. Compound is an illegal settlement. But this time around it is no longer an illegal settlement because people are paying rates to the government. Having the society which is actually not learned is actually a problem which can affect all Zambians from Mrs. Compound. And as it is said that the dependence of government in most cases is actually on the GDP. The people of Mrs. Compound, actually the manpower of Mrs. Compound will be dormant. And how do you expect them to contribute to the GDP of the country? So I'm actually requesting that the government, through the Ministry of Education, must see to it that a school is actually given to the people of Mrs. Compound in order to save this country, Zambia.
Ise bana kuno bavutika kulibe skulu pafupi ela uku kwamene baenda ukamwala kulima lodi kujumba malodi so manje mutileteleko skulu kuno.
Efforts to get a comment from the education minister proved futile as his phone went unanswered. The residents' only hopes are for the government to help build schools in the area. Annie Sakala reporting for Hope News.
National Secretary for the Public Passenger Transport Drivers Association of Zambia, Sidin Mbewe, says it has become difficult under the current regime for the association to consider price adjustments for both local and intercity routes. Mr. Mbewe says this is because the public transport sector has become porous in its operations, in that local capacity vehicles tend to operate in undesignated stations despite the law not allowing the process. He further states that the continued increase in pump price of fuel is affecting commuters at household level, which forces them to scrap off use of public transport due to an increase in the prices of basic needs. He was speaking in a phone interview with Hope News in Lusaka.
Continued increase in pump price of fuel is affecting commuters at household level. And our survey indicates that a number of households now are knocking off transport from their budgeting list, meaning that public transport is not one of those priorities that they'll be looking at, because other commodities or other essentials are going up. Things like food is going up, things like shelter is going up, things like looking at clothing, which includes school uniforms, are going up. So for them to even in their meager income brackets to look at putting transport on their budget is not something that they are considering now. So for us, we have an oversubscribed transport sector competing now for a reducing travel demand of commuters. So the travel demand is low, so meaning that the demand against the supply do not equate themselves. It should be the other way around, where the demand is high and the supply is low. We are currently under the regime that we are operating under, the public passenger transport sector. It has become very, very, very and extremely difficult to even sit down and start considering the adjustment of fares either for local or intercity routes. Now, the constraints in looking at the adjustment of fares comes from two areas. One, our sector has become too porous in terms of who operates in the public transport sector, even when the law does not provide or authorize them to operate in the public transport sector. So we have seen a lot of investment in low capacity vehicles that are now conducting business in the public transport space. And this is on local routes where we have a lot of pirates, and this is also in intercity routes. If you go to Hero Stadium, it's packed now with people wanting to get on private registered vehicles. You go to Charleston Tank, it's the same. Go to Garden House Motel, it's the same. Now, there's no one who's regulating the coming in of these illegal operators. Hence, they are drastically affecting the travel demand for public.
Finally, on the news, the Zambia Police Service are holding a 10-day training of police officers in line with the fight against sexual offences and child protection with the help of the Scottish Government. The aim of the training is to capacitate officers with information that will help them provide better services for victims and witnesses. The training is designed for officers that deal with sexual offences and child protection in various police stations across the country.
To our facilitators, I wish to thank you personally for your personal efforts in ensuring the training of our officers is carried out professionally. We continue to be indebted to the Scottish Police for the great service to the Zambia Police. We hold this relationship with the Scottish Police in very high esteem and shall definitely continue to forge other avenues for partnership. In the true spirit of partnership, the Scottish officers have previously delivered training that have been informed has always been to high standards with direct relevance to policing in Zambia.
And Police Scotland take gender-based violence seriously, and we have robust processes and enforcement to keep people safe and arrest and prosecute offenders. I have one ask of the students, the people who we're going to get to know over the next fortnight as friends, as colleagues, and that is that I hope you find the training interesting, I hope you find it engaging, and please engage with us. We'll work together in this collaborative.
As we end the news, let's recap on stories that made headlines. Millers have agreed to reduce the price of mealie meal across the country. Police intercept a ploy to traffic an albino from Mongo in Western Province into Lusaka. Mississippi compound still operates without any public schools 58 years later after Zambia gained independence. Public Transport Association irritated by unstable fuel prices. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Bright Sinkozi. On behalf of the entire studio and production team, not forgetting all our news correspondents across the country, and on sign language, Sharon Akfuna. God bless as you continue watching Hope Channel Zambia, television that changes lives. Bye for now.